Mrs. Lucas, thank you very much for that introduction. I knew I should have shortened that because when you read it, it sounds more like an obituary than anything else. But thank you very much for that. I might also add that Mrs. Poe, our chapter president, and I have to call her Madam President in public, so was delighted to give this talk, but had some minor eye surgery, and if not for that, she would be giving us the speech. Reverend Whitaker, Mrs. Whitaker, members of the Conti family, especially young adults, Livingstone College alumni, friends of Livingstone, staff members from Livingstone, I am delighted and honored to be part of this great tradition. It's a tradition, like you say, that we've lost in many of our AME Zion churches. And the chapter has stepped forward to say to any AME Zion church in the Washington metropolitan area, we'll support you in recognizing and supporting Livingstone College. So that's the charge that we have. Let me just add a piece on that. Throughout the AME Zion Church, Livingstone College Day or Founders Day programs such as this have been a time to memorialize the founder of the college, Joseph Charles Price, and to revisit the values and the purpose of our institution. We do this to both celebrate our achievements and to mobilize ourselves in our continued support of Livingstone and all that it means to us. It is a time of rededication where we draw strength and resolve from our past and redouble our efforts for the future. Starting in 1936, the AME Zion Church took official steps to make Founders Day observances, Livingstone College Day programs like this, church-wide. This began a great tradition which continues today, and as I said, we really want to encourage. It draws churches and the college together. It's a tradition that we have lost. Observing this day highlights the critical, central role the church played in establishing and sustaining the college over time. In 1882, Livingstone College became a reality with Joseph Charles Price as its founder and first president. During this period, it was practically unheard of to hear of blacks attempting to finance and to run a school on their own. Other schools established during this period to train and educate newly freed slaves, and there were over 30 of those, mostly in the South. All of them, except Livingstone, were either maintained by white philanthropists or white churches, and usually run by white presidents heading an administrative staff and a board of trustees, usually mostly white. Livingstone College was the first of the purely African-American supported colleges. Now, as an example, if you think about now, among those 30, some of those that have survived in and around the Piedmont portion of North Carolina, Barbara Scotia College in Concord was Presbyterian, Bennett College in Greensboro was, I think, Methodist. Johnson C. Smith in Charlotte was Presbyterian. Shaw in Raleigh was Baptist. St. Augustine in Raleigh was Episcopal. Federal State in Federal North Carolina, of course, was supported by the university, by the state of North Carolina. Livingstone stands out uniquely as supported by blacks in their own self-help efforts following the Civil War. Now, that is, when you think about it, this was at the, approaching the turn of the century, 25 years after the Civil War and emancipation, and almost, I guess that's almost 7 or 8 years after the end of Reconstruction. So these were hard times when this happened. In the minutes of the A.M. Zion Church's General Conference in 1888, Joseph Charles Price recorded the following, and I quote, "Livingstone College stands before the world today as the most remarkable evidence of self-help among Negroes of this country." He went on to say, the General Conference at its last session appropriated $6,000 for the support of the college. No such amount was ever appropriated or given by any other colored organization for the benefit of its own educational institution, close quotes. Now, $6,000 was a lot of money, clearly equivalent to what we have gotten today in terms of support from the church. Education Day programs such as this one today remind me of my mother, Winifred Parker Poe, class of 1935, and Mrs. Littlejohn, I know you knew her very well as my grandmother, Mabel Hannah Parker, class of 1909, both Livingstonians. Year after year, my mother would give the Livingstone College Day speech at her small-town church, at our hometown church, New Hope A.M. Zion Church, right outside of Salisbury, North Carolina. She loved and respected Livingstone and saw herself as the beneficiary of Joseph Charles Price's dream. She would often say that she didn't know where she would be if it were not for the existence of Livingstone College. As small children, my brother and I, and he's up in the rafters up here in the balcony, taking photos, were made to sit on the front row so that we wouldn't act up during her talk. As we grew older, however, it was expected that we would listen and pay attention, and we did. My mother always stressed 2 things during her talk. First, she would extol the benefits of a Livingstone College liberal arts education, which trained the head and the heart, and emphasis on both intellect as well as moral and ethical training. Ideals that Price himself held essential and which live on today as the college's core values. Second, she never tired of pointing out the important relationship between the church and the college, that each made the other stronger. Her biggest fear was that Livingstone would not be there for her children. So, over her entire life, she worked through the church tirelessly in support of the college. She was truly a servant leader. Servant leadership is at the heart of my comments today. This is an empowering thing. It speaks to each of us to see ourselves as individuals of worth of value, of achievement, of accomplishment, to see ourselves as individuals, empowered individuals who have much to offer and much to give back in service to others. 5 years ago, the members of our Washington area chapter of the Livingstone College National Alumni Association set out to define ourselves as servant leaders in service to Livingstone and its students. Our theme was a call to commitment. You make a difference through servant leadership. We each took a personal oath of commitment to support the college. The first step in doing this was to take stock of who we were, to inventory what knowledge, experience, skills, and abilities we had to offer. What support, what service could we provide individually and as a group? Each member was asked to write a short biography capturing his or her career life experiences. Those biographies were published, and I was supposed to have brought the book along with me just as the exemplar, so that each member would share and own up to what they had to offer, all of which was quite incredible, remarkable once you got it down on paper. The results were transformational in that they far exceeded our notion of what we could potentially contribute as a group. Many members were themselves surprised at their own list of accomplishments and achievements. Many had not taken the time to take stock of their own career life experiences and the value that all of that had. They didn't appreciate what they had the ability to pass on, what they had to offer. We discovered members who controlled multi-million-dollar budgets and managed and led organizations of over 1,000 people. We discovered members with world-class experience and expertise in areas ranging from strategic planning to leadership and executive development, from mentoring and coaching to career life transition preparedness, from public speaking to financial and human capital management, from classroom instruction to educational administration, from foreign affairs to national security management, from public safety to healthcare administration. I could go on and on and on, but it was a wealth of experience. The net result of all of this is that our chapter now contributes so much more to the college and its students. Now, it's not only about fundraising, even though we continue to annually raise over $30,000 for Livingstone, with $20,000 of that going to student scholarships. And those scholarships, those are scholarships for students studying at Livingstone coming from the Washington metropolitan area. So it's focused here. Our chapter now supports a whole range of projects to include leading a major strategic planning project for the integration of effort between the National Alumni Association, the college, and the AME Zion Church. That effort is being led by Dr. James Gray, who's here with us. We also have an initiative that was organized as a parents group to better connect parents with the college in support of their students in an effort to increase the graduation rate. That effort is being led by Mrs. Carol McCauley. We have a team of members who represent Livingstone at high school and church college fairs in order to recruit students to attend Livingstone. We also provide coaching, and mentoring seminars and workshops, both locally and on the campus. And those initiatives are led by Mrs. Barbara Poe and Mrs. Mary Williams. Now, we have a number of other folks who also help by teaching some of those segments. Dr. Gray, Ms. Dolores Chauncey, Guy, and others. I'm sure I'm leaving somebody out, but myself. But anyway, the list goes on and on. Our expanded role has come about in large part by how we now see ourselves, given the talents and abilities of our membership. We see ourselves as servant leaders in service to Livingstone College and its students. Let me just digress a little here. This is the 134th year commemorating the founding of Livingstone College. The words of the founder, Joseph Charles Price, spoken many years ago, are just as relevant today as they were back then on the eve of the 19th century. As I pointed out earlier, all of this was happening 25 years after the end of slavery and the Civil War, in a period when the gangs of Reconstruction were being rolled back with the loss of the ballot and the passage of Jim Crow legislation in the South. Influenced by these events of his time and the proximity to the deprivations of slavery, Price saw self-sufficiency as the only way to uplift Black Americans. His wisdom has not dimmed with time. He was indeed a genius, far ahead of his day, with vision and insight that speak to issues relevant for us. First, taking responsibility for the intellectual and moral education of our children. And second, solving our own problems through what Price called our self-duty. Translated today, servant leadership in service to others. To him, Livingstone College and the AME Zion Church were central to the accomplishment of these two imperatives. Price was not just a dreamer. He convincingly argued that nothing in the long history of the treatment of blacks in America suggested that our uplifting would be accomplished by anyone else except ourselves. He wrote, and I quote, "We must lead on in this great work committed to our charge. Every day of added intelligence, every trained young man and woman, every schoolhouse, every college or university adds to our power to do this work, to determine the course and shape the future of our race has." These are all powerful, insightful words relevant for today. We have much work remaining to do, even though we've accomplished a lot. The gap between Black Americans and most others in our society is widening on many fronts: healthcare, education, safe streets, equal justice, youth crime and violence, the lack of a stable family environment, to mention a few. All compelling reasons for us to get involved and make a difference, to give something back, to become servant leaders in service to others. Collective inaction on our part is indefensible. And there is so much to be done. It falls to all of us working through great institutions like Livingstone College and the AME Zion Church to make a difference in the lives of those most needing inspiration, education, and moral and ethical grounding. We must then do what we can to remedy disparities. We need our college and our church more today than ever before, and we must support both of them. Price preached that only by educating people on the importance of helping others could a people ever expect to develop and uplift themselves. He felt that education must have a strong moral and ethical component to shape one's character. He writes, and I quote, "Education aids men and women in learning the true relation they bear to others. That freedmen should be without this knowledge is understandable. What did they know of self-duty when they had no self? What did they know about the responsibility to family or the training of children? The institution of slavery taught them that they had no family, no children, while emancipation eliminated involuntary servitude to another. It did not teach freedmen the duties they owed to themselves as well as to the brotherhood of man. Ignorance on this point is a great obstacle to the progress of our people." End of quotes. Amen. Powerful words, as I said, a visionary, far ahead of his age. These are the challenges we continue to address 134 years later and 50 years after the end of Jim Crow laws and overt racism. All compelling reasons for us to get involved and make a difference, to give something back, to become an engaged servant leader in service to the college and its students. I close with a short paragraph from a speech given by the student representative on the occasion of the 1951 Founders Day program at the college. You know, each year at Founders Day, a student is asked to make a presentation on that program. And this was the one that was given in 1951 by, his last name is Massey, but he was born and raised right there in Salisbury, and was someone that I knew. His student pledge captures the essence of today's theme, servant leadership in service to others. His pledge is as follows, and I quote, "As students of Livingstone College, we're preparing ourselves to meet life's situations. We're preparing to take our places alongside the other great scholars of Livingstone College who have gone before us. We, the future leaders of the world and future spokesmen for this institution, pledge our untiring efforts towards the continued growth of Livingstone College and the uplift of mankind. We do nothing more than defeat our own purpose when we gain our education at the expense of others, and then through selfishness deny to others the opportunity that we have had. Learning to live is our purpose. To help others find the fullest and best expression of their lives is our objective." End of quote. Servant leadership in service to the college and its students. Thanks again, and congratulations to a great program, observance. This is a great tradition that the chapter will certainly help you perpetuate. Thank you very much.